Yeah, when we grew up in our community or in our neighborhood, it was a sense of community here. You know, it was like one big family, like a village feeling, where, you know, we spent more time at our friends' houses than we did at our own, and it was no problem. You know, like I said, it was all like one big family. And we also had that group of older guys in our neighborhood that may not have been doing the most positive of things, but you know, they always made sure that the younger guys were doing their homework, going to school. If some like violence or crazy things were gonna go on outside, they would make everybody go in the house. And you know, like there was like a real sense of community here.
All the houses were occupied, and we could probably sit up here and name every person that lived on both sides of the street, half the people up Ridge Hill, people on Walbrook. But when you look around, like if you just take a look, you can count the number of vacant houses all up and down the street.
One thing we always say is that they call inner cities hoods and not neighborhoods because all the neighbors have moved out.
What was the reason for the change?
Crack. Yeah, crack just decimated our community, from people who were using the crack, people who were selling it. You know, like it really wiped out a whole generation of people in our neighborhood. And that those older brothers that were in the neighborhood looking out for people, they all got locked up or were murdered. So, you know, that's why it's been so wild in Baltimore for a while.
You need to imagine that we have all the kids that are kind of terrorizing the neighborhood, you know, and all of them, the ones that are wreaking havoc are all on our porch, you know what I mean? Like before the program, we'd have like 20 kids on this porch, and it was kind of like instilling fear in the community and some of the heads in the community, like we were starting some kind of gang or something like that, you know? And at one point, they tried to put a petition together to get us kicked out of the neighborhood, you know what I mean? Because they thought that we were creating this gang, and it's amazing that they would think that, because these kids are cleaning the streets and doing community cleanups and stuff, and they're still like, what are y'all doing with those kids? They're too much noise, too much of ruckus, and it was kind of like this fear of that we were trying to create this like mob of people, but we were really creating gangsters of good. And we had a group of guys at first, they were like, only girls do yoga, like what are we doing yoga, you know what I mean? But I think that after a while, and they started doing the practice, and they could see, you know what I mean, that transformation happening within themselves, the same transformation that we saw happening within us. I think they started experiencing it and feeling it, and they bought into it a little more. There's an elementary school right up the corner on our neighborhood, and we were like, well, hey, let's talk to the principal. The principal's like, sure, whatever you want. So we're like, give us a list of all the kids that you think are the problem kids, you know what I mean? So we took all those under our wing.
Inhale and backward bend.
After about the first 3 months, I started noticing a difference in the behavior. I said, well, it must really be something to this.
Kids get empowered by learning yoga and mindfulness. They see that they're in control of themselves, that no one else has to give them medication or yell at them and scream at them. When they feel and they're aware of anger rising or sadness rising, they can kind of address it, and you give them tools to deal with it, and they feel happy about that because they're in control.
All right, y'all, we get a lot of requests for this. Y'all like doing the tree, right?
The next year, we had parents asking, can my children be in that program? To actually watch the children do yoga for that 45 minutes or an hour was amazing. But I think for me, the thing that really touched my heart was to go in and watch the children actually lead. Once that happened, I was sold.
Great job, K-Twan. Great job.
The next phase will be the interns, along with Ali, Akman, and Andy, are going to train teachers and classes. So twice a day, in the morning and in the afternoon, the whole school will stop, and we will do breathing exercises, and it's going to really be wonderful.
Our children are suffering emotionally, physically, spiritually, and it has a direct impact on education and their ability to achieve, their ability to come to school, their ability to deal with aggravation, whether it is from a teacher or another student or life itself. And if we don't have something in place to help children with those issues, then it's highly unlikely that the children are going to perform at the necessary levels in terms of their academics.
Inhale deep. Chin to your chest.
These kids have so much going on in their lives that it's no wonder that they don't excel in school. The neighborhood itself is just unbelievable, but you got the media and your peers and just society in general. It's overwhelming. And for us to just give them a few skills to show them, hey, you have your breath with you. You can regulate yourself. You can go inward and not have to worry about all this. And the issues with these kids, we've had kids who parents do drugs and they don't have any clean clothes. So then they come into school and kids make fun of them. You know what I mean? We have kids who don't eat in the morning. They come in here, they need food. So this room is providing more than just the mindfulness and the yoga techniques, but we're just here for the holistic, person, for everything. A great story Tron tells me, he's walking down the hall one day and there's a kid in the hallway and he says to him, hey man, how you doing? And the guy walks and is like, man, fuck you, man, da-da-da-da-da. And he screams at him, he starts cursing at him, you know what I mean? He gets up in Tron's face and he says, Andy, I almost let the street out. He's like, but I did it, you know what I mean? And he walked up to the kid and he was like, hey man, like, you need to come see what we do, what we're doing here, you know what I mean? So he walks him over to this room and he shows him it, and the kid didn't really buy into it. I'll be honest, he didn't really do any of the breathing or the exercise. Tron said the next day he comes to the room, he's like, hey, can I talk to you? The moment the door closes, the kid starts crying. It's this tough kid who puts this facade on that he's just, this gangster tough kid, just starts crying. It's like, hey man, look, I can't wash my clothes, you know what I mean? Everyone's making fun of me like I'm poor, my uncle just died, I have no one to look up to, and Tron was like, hey man, we got a washing machine here, bring your clothes, I'll do your laundry for you, You need some deodorant? We'll get you some deodorant. What, you need some new clothes? Whatever.
It is about what are we doing for children, what are we doing for our staff that goes beyond evaluating them and that goes beyond looking at their data. When our children are away from us and they're in their element outside of our school building and they come across a situation that's life or death, that many of them do, I will hope that through this practice or just the understanding of it, that they're able to take a deep breath and make a better decision that could possibly save their life.
Exhale. It's our last breath. Inhale as deep as you can. As deep as you can. Real deep, deep inhale. Lock your chin to your chest. It's our last breath. Inhale as deep as you can. Exhale.
We saw what it did to the children, and we're like, well, we can't leave out the adults either. And we know everyone needs it, but we really wanted to provide it to these communities and populations that are more underserved, that aren't able to buy, fancy yoga pants and a colorful yoga mat and go to this $20 yoga class, you know what I mean? So we wanted to go and provide it to them. So, drug rehab centers, mental health facilities, homeless shelters, community centers, the juvenile justice, anywhere where people wouldn't usually get it, we would just start going out and branching out.
I'm from a neighborhood that was decimated by drugs, crack, heroin, and I have a lot of friends who, lost their parents to drugs and lost their older siblings to drugs, and yeah, it totally decimated our neighborhood. So the reason why I'm so passionate as far as teaching drug rehab classes, because I see, while working with the youth that we work with, how drugs not only affects and destroys the drug user's life, but it destroys the whole family's life. And if we can affect the person who's in our drug rehab class, you never know how many lives that that's gonna help out. So y'all know how we always start off class with breathing. kind of getting ourselves centered and stuff. So everybody inhale deep through your nose, filling your stomach up with air. Exhale, push all that air out. Push it all out. Y'all breathing sounds great. And remember, you can use your imagination to make the breath that much more potent. So this time, inhale and use your imagination to see healing energy and oxygen come in your body with the breath. Exhale, push any stress, any anger, any sadness, any sickness, see it leave your body with the breath. So everybody inhale deep, and then exhale that breath out. Great job, y'all. Y'all breathing sounds great. Inhale, bring it back. And then exhale, relax your arm. Wiggle your fingers around, roll your wrists around. We're just gonna inhale deep. And then exhale and drop our hands and start bending at our waist, bringing our chest to our knees, and then just drop our head. And then inhale and come up. Put your hands on your knees, push your pelvis back, chest to the ceiling, chin to the ceiling. Y'all look perfect. All right, next, we're gonna use our imaginations again. And this time, we're gonna think of anybody who's stressing us out, that's causing us angry, that makes us sad. But we're gonna be the bigger person and send those people love too. Whether it's our family or friends, people in our neighborhood. Even though they may stress us out or cause us anger, send them love. Because whatever energy you put out comes back to you.
Some of our neighbors decided they want to try to turn this into a park, but they didn't really have any people power to do it. So we got a bunch of the students, kids from this neighborhood, and we helped them put this park together. Just a space for people to come and kind of relax. And it's been cool because it's been a community space. We throw cookouts and parties back here over the summer. The flower mart, they give away school supplies. So it's become a real community space. It's a beautiful space right in the middle of the city. And you wouldn't expect a green, calm, quiet space like this to be back here.
Exhale. Bring your head up slowly. I'm gonna try to focus. Inhale deep. Exhale.
And out of that first group of kids, I mean, what was it, 19 out of 20 of them graduated on time or earlier. None of them incarcerated. I mean, and again, for the group of guys in the neighborhoods and areas they're living in, that's a phenomenal statistic. And the majority of them now are, those in the 5th grade, they're all 20-some years old, and they're our staff. When we were in Patterson yesterday, they're the ones, like I said, they're the ones running it. They're the ones at Coleman right now running it. A lot of times the 3 of us aren't even teaching classes anymore because all these guys who were coming up in these rough situations and scenarios found that feeling within them and that place of peace within them, and they're like, hey, I want to do this. Someone gave me this, and I want to give it to them, and now they're the ones going out all throughout the city and doing it.
So to go in and to see a student who was very shy or very soft-spoken, being able to lead 90 to 100 children, that's remarkable. Not only does it make them a better leader, it helps to build self-esteem.
Our whole goal for our work is to make sure that we're not needed. Like, we teach in a way that we want people to walk away feeling empowered and feeling knowledgeable and wise about the things that we teach them so that they know how to incorporate them into their lives and teach them to other people. Creating teachers is the way that we've always done it, and maybe a bad business model, but it's good for helping people. I think there's about 250 kids at Coleman. There's about 1,100 kids at Patterson High School. Last year we were in 13 schools in Baltimore City regularly. There were other schools we were at periodically. This year, there's a bunch of other schools that we're working on. So by the time I say Christmas rolls around, it should be somewhere between 15 and 20 schools total. We did a training over the summer, finding some 18 to 24-year-old youth where we trained them to be yoga and mindfulness instructors. We teach at 2 adult and drug treatment centers. We do trainings for teachers, parents, administrators, some judges, lawyers, whoever's available. and is interested in how to teach yoga and mindfulness to urban and high-risk youth. Directly servicing, we probably directly service close to 10,000 kids, about 3,000, 3,500 adults over the time we've been there. Been doing this, which is about 12 years, just going into 13.
All our senses are right there inside of us at that thumb-sized light. We're not focused on anything on the
One of the
outside
biggest parts of what we do, you know, is beyond the actual techniques and the practices is being present for the kids, being there for them all the time, like 100%, I'm here for you. I'm here and I'm gonna give you whatever I can.
You know, that's one of the main things that we kind of do for people. Besides teaching them yoga and mindfulness, we're kind of like a support system for people in whatever they want to do in life. You know, we'll try to find a way to help them achieve their goal, whatever it is, you know.
Ali, Ahmed, and Andy. I've never seen 3 young men so dedicated to change their lives and empower young people. You know, when I think about Holistic Life Foundation, it has had a great impact on Robert Coleman. When I think about all that they offer with helping the children to not just redirect negative behavior, but to build self-esteem, to show them, expose them to things that they've never been exposed to just show them that I genuinely care about you. It has made such a difference. And as a principal, I really don't know how successful we would have been without having them here.
You have to believe that what you're doing is beneficial to people in their lives, whether it's going to impact or help your evaluation or not. Because I'm solely not evaluated by people who employ me. I'm evaluated by the Creator. And if I'm able to do something that's going to be helpful to human beings, I'm all in.
Something we really focus on is the love aspect of things. You know, like that I think is one of the huge things for us is the love and the compassion, the empathy that we have with our work and with the kids. You know, and we say I love you to the kids all the time. And Ali always says it, you know, like these guys are some pretty tough kids in some pretty tough neighborhoods, and they'll be around all their other homies who don't do the stuff they do, and when they get off the phone, they say, I love you to us, you know what I mean? And if they don't, they'll call us back and say, hey, I forgot to tell you, hey man, I love you.
I know when we all sat down, you know, this was back in college, you're like, man, you know, there's been all these movements in the world, this movement and that movement. Yo, we're gonna do like a holistic movement. And that's what we're doing, you know what I mean? And we're kind of, you know, leading by example and showing people, and it's not just our program, there's programs popping up all over the nation, all over the world that is doing the exact same work. And, you know, we're part of this holistic movement that's going on now. So I think we're exactly, you know, where we thought we were going to be, in the forefront, and, you know, just spreading love, like Andy says, like love zombies, you know?
And we always said, I mean, when we got started with this, we were going to start in Baltimore, but we were going to affect the entire planet. So, I mean, it wasn't like we were planning on, like we plan on having this be our home base and make our biggest impact here, but we always knew that there were people all over the world that we wanted to help, and particularly help themselves. Like they won't need us, we'll go to them and give them the skills to kind of go inward and really take care of themselves and be happy with themselves. And if there's something's going on physically, mentally, emotionally, even spiritually, like they have the tools to kind of go inside and fix it. So that's what we always said we were going to do. So now we're being provided, I guess the universe is seeing that we're serious, and we're being provided the opportunities to go all these places and do it.